Congratulations, Anish, on winning the FIDE Grand Swiss. Overall, how do you feel?
No, I'm really, really happy, of course. It's been like a fairy tale, I guess, in the end. I mean, it was tough, and I was only one of the people. I was never a favorite at any moment. I was never leading, only sharing the lead with a bad tiebreak, so I was never actually leading. I always had a shot, I guess, but it was never that close. So yeah, it happened out of the blue today. But of course, I've been working towards that, and I've been dreaming about this for so long that to say that I'm like shocked that this has happened, that would be an overstatement. But yeah, I'm extremely happy about it.
And tell me about your game with Hans from a psychological standpoint.
Yeah, it was a very interesting situation because he was actually in the must-win, but I was also in the must-win. So he knew that it creates like it was a similar. Basically, I first thought about this problem when Nepo was playing Fabi, and for the qualification to the World Championship match, and they had to both win, and it led to very interesting strategy from both of them. I started to think like, what is the optimal strategy for each of them? Because it's very easy to say what's the optimal strategy if one of the players is in must-win, another in must-draw. It's a classical situation. Happens in matches like World Cup matches. You win the first game, next game you have to defend. The guy has to win, and it's very clear. The guy who is in must-win has to take enormous risks, and it's very easy to do that. But if you play, but the problem is that if you take a lot of risks like that, of course, you win maybe 3 games, you lose 7, right? But because your opponent is also in a must-win and you are equal with your opponent, you could try to make a strategy which is different so that you win 5 games out of 10 and not just 3. So, but it's still difficult because chess is a game where draw is one of the most natural results. So you also have to take into account that there is that aspect. So you might be both want to win, but if you both play good optimal chess, might become a draw, most likely will become a draw. And so you need to find a way to give your opponent some sort of fighting position where he thinks it's good enough, and also like you have to find a way where you get basically an equal fighting position, which is difficult because both want a slightly better fighting position and they try to pull the rope to each other, but they might pull the rope so close that they both fall and both collapse. So it's a very difficult situation, very nuanced. I think Hans didn't quite manage to do that well today because he didn't want to give me, he didn't want to take a lot of risks, which is kind of correct. But then he ended up playing so correct that he just ended up in a very defensive position. And okay, they just had to defend, and he was actually in a must-win. And I guess it's not fun to defend when you're in must-win. So he mismanaged that a bit. You have to, but it's difficult. And of course, my choices were done in such a way that it would be difficult for him to do that. So I was trying to utilize that. It's much easier for the white player, of course. But yeah, no, it was a very, very interesting situation. And Arjun Kaimre were similar. They got a very different type of position. I think they got they got kind of something that what is optimal. Like both were happy. Both got a very fighting position, and both were happy. In my game with Hans, I think he must have been very unhappy because he had no winning chances, and I was somewhat unhappy because it was drawish. But I knew that it's what I'm good at, and yeah, I'm good at small advantages. I'm good at end games. Of course, it might become a draw, but it also might become a win.
And this risk taking that you discussed, do you feel like that contributed, or how do you feel that contributed to Bluebomb taking that second spot?
I think what happened with Bluebomb was a very clear-cut case of a player who's an underdog in every game because of his lower rating, but who's been in a tremendous form and is extremely well prepared. And he has chosen, basically a good defensive counter-attacking strategy. And it is a testament to how far you can get with that strategy if you are playing really well. So he played really, really well, but he basically just, from some point onwards, he was just sitting inside his shield and letting everybody come at him and would counter punch if they would expose themselves. And he's been playing it for the last many rounds like that. And he beat Pragyananda, he beat Arjun, and he drew a bunch of other games. Yeah, he played really tremendous, but very different, of course, for him as opposed to, let's say, Firuza, because Firuza, he's the one who has to take risks because his opponents are, they're fine being defensive and they know he will. So it's just very different for Firouzja. Basically, the kind of tournament, the kind of chess that Firouzja played here is very different to the kind of chess Bluebaum played. But ironically, the player who had to try to generate chances all the time and try to create them, he has failed, and the player who was on the other side, who was just playing counter-attack, managed to do that. So yeah, there are many different ways to play chess, and it can be that sometimes the fire, sometimes the ice wins.
Yeah, the psychology behind it is really fascinating. I know you've been to the candidates before, so in preparation for this candidates, what are you going to do differently?
Oh, it's going to be very different. When I played the first candidates, second and third, the chess has been so different, and it's going to be. I like this candidates more than the one in 2020 and 2021. 2016 was like a normal candidates. Like that was the one like I could just prepare how I prepared when I was a kid. Like so that was like kind of easy to prepare, and okay, I had my own misses there, but in terms of prep it was alright. But the second one, it was a turning point when I think the neural networks have just come out and they have revolutionized chess a lot, and I didn't know where. And I was discovering what has become of chess in the process of preparation, and it has been at times very frustrating. Not come with enthusiasm. I would think, okay, I'll find so many new ideas, and I would realize that I have nothing. And I would discover sometimes during preparation, sometimes during tournament, that that basically I had to change the way I see chess during the process of it. Which wasn't ideal. I think now I know better where chess stands. I know what to expect, and I can try to build strategy around it. And I expect it to not be as frustrating as it was. And I think I'll prepare, in a much more inspired way. And I'm looking forward a lot to preparing for the next finals.
And you said you changed the way that you see chess. Can you talk a little more about how?
Yeah, for sure. As computers get stronger, you see that chess is not what you thought. So, for example, you see that certain positions that you thought were like better for white are maybe not better for white. Certain positions. Also, you see the results. So, let's say you think like going for this kind of approach. Like some people they play like a particular type of chess. Like very risky, let's say. But then you see that you would think that it doesn't work like this. Yeah, you would think that like a strong grandmaster would be able to defend against this insane attack. But then you see that, for example, in a tournament, that it doesn't work at all. And another tournament happens, and this guy who keeps doing that thing keeps winning. So then you have to readjust. The same with the engines. Like you just sort of see that things are not as you thought they were. Some positions, for example, like you thought that. Okay, mostly you thought like probably black has to be really precise, yeah, and there's only maybe one or two ways to defend. And then as you analyze it very deeply with the engine, you discover that black has like 9 different ways to be fine. Because 2 are obvious, but there is like 4 more where it's actually, and there's like 3 more, and there is like few more, and and you realize that there are so many ways to play chess because of the engine, because the engine shows you. Because then previously, like let's say, I think the position is bad, yeah, because it looks bad to me. I have so much experience and I trust myself. But when I see that computer defends these positions, then it really changes the way you see it. And likewise, also with certain, maybe certain attacks, yeah, you think like, okay, this attack cannot work at all, and it just cannot be dangerous because black has done nothing wrong. Let's say black does a very sound position, has done everything right, and white has gone reckless on one side of the board, going all in. It shouldn't be working because back then it never worked. But now you analyze with the engine, or you try to play yourself against the engine, and you see that not only does it not lose, but it's even dangerous. And like this reckless attack. Just you can't defend against it because you're so weak and the engine is so strong that you can't defend even with a healthy position against this reckless attack. So there are these things where mostly the fact that the engines become stronger, you just sort of learn. And then of course, as you learn that like a reckless attack like this could work, you can also implement it in your game. You can also do a reckless attack because you know that you thought it doesn't work, but actually if you play well enough, like it can work. So I think mostly the fact that engines get better and they change, it influences and also younger players come, and they play different chess, and it works what they do. Some players, like, I don't understand their chess, like I didn't understand it for a long time. A lot of moves they make, like I think these are like obviously bad moves, but but then they win those games. And at first I think, okay, it was luck. Then he wins again, and then he wins again, and then after a while I think, oh, it's not luck. And I try to understand, why did I think it was? And I realized, oh, maybe I was the stupid one. Maybe I was too narrow-minded. Maybe the move is actually not weak, because what I didn't realize is that it's possible for the opponent to actually make those mistakes. And then I realized also that maybe myself sometimes I'm not able to withstand this kind of attack. So yeah, I learned from other players. Mostly you learn from engines and people that succeed. Yeah, because basically everybody has their own strategy, their own way of playing, but you can only learn from those that win, because that's the strategy that works.
And last question, I was listening in on the Chess Base India stream you just did, and I heard you saying about how you have some personal projects that you'd like to start. If you could give us a summary.
I just told them, because somehow we got to that topic, but it's something was not planning to announce it or anything yet, but basically I always wanted to, because I work with like chess software for professional players. I was always preparing, since I'm a small kid. Like when I was like 7, I got like a CD with like Deep Fritz 7 and some sort of chess base, I guess, and I had all these books, and I was preparing since I'm 7, and everybody's preparing, and there's very little development in that space, because you don't have many clients sort of for that. Let's say chess.com is big, and then TechTech is trying to grow, because everybody loves to play chess, everybody loves to watch chess. Many people do, but very few people actually prepare, right? It's a small group of people that actually prepares. People like me, also weaker players, but still they're not like club players, or maybe up-and-coming kids, who are very ambitious. Like some kids just play chess for fun, but some kids want to actually be the next Gukesh, So I always had some thoughts like on the kind of things I would want to do in that space, but I could never really do it because I don't have the time, but also I don't have the skills, and the kind of technical skill set that is needed is this kind of person could work I don't know, at Google or OpenAI, whatever, or even chess.com, and make some money. Better money at OpenAI than chess.com, I'm afraid, but it's okay. And it's a big question, when you make a software for this kind of small group of people, how well it's gonna sell really. But for me, it's not really for money, but I seem to have found the person who is, I think, able to do a good job building it, and and he's willing to do that and take this sort of decision. Rather than trying to get hired at OpenAI or chess.com. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And okay, it's sort of a long-term project, and I'm going to be working on it gradually. It's very difficult because the kind of things you need as a professional, and it's actually quite complicated. The tools we already have are quite advanced, and to do something which is better than what exists, you need to first get there in the first place. So I'm excited about it, but it's I'll talk about it more probably when I'm ready to talk about it, and it's going to be an exciting journey, and I hope it works out. But mostly it's more in line with what I've been doing also at Chessable, because I started doing Chessable a few years ago. It's been really a lot of fun. I've learned so much there, making courses, and I like that world. I like sharing my knowledge, and I learned a lot from the way they taught me at Chessable how to do it, and mostly I just learned a lot of because most of what I thought I knew better, I knew worse. But still, there are certain things where I feel, I want to do certain things my way, and and then you can only really do it if it's your own project. You can't really do that, at another company where, you have to follow the vision of those companies. So that's why I want to do something for myself, and that would be more along the lines of what I do with chess. I have it here. Chess. Yes. I should have taken off the jacket.
Show it off.
Yeah, Observer is here supporting my my professional journey for many years, and it's really important because you have all these projects. But again, this project is not ready to make a lot of money. At least it's not the goal. And playing chess, okay, it's great if you win the Grand Swiss, you get a lot of dollars. But if you just are always focusing on counting the prize money, you'll just go crazy because you have to count, to calculate the moves. You have to calculate, think about the openings. You have to think about the opponent strategy. And if you start thinking about money as well, you'll just go nuts. It's just too much. So for me, it's important, that for many years I was sponsored by Observer, and I am basically. I don't have to think about money, at least when I play. I know that no matter if I have a temporary setback, I don't need to earn money within the time frame of 2 months. So I can play, and I can basically think about all the other things like openings, like hands, like his strategy, without thinking. Because for example, actually imagine I would be in the need of money. Hypothetically, imagine a young player who doesn't have sponsors, or old player doesn't have sponsors, needs to feed family. It would be difficult because drawing today guarantees me over $50,000, and losing would make it maybe 10. So it would be a very difficult decision. Yeah, how much risk are you going to take? Because $50,000 is nice. It's a salary for a few months, for many months for a normal person. So it's really nice that I have a sponsor that for many years, and I don't need to take that into account. And I can just play my best, and when the situation requires some risk taking, I can do that, or the opposite. Sometimes the opposite. Some people are very desperately not trying to take risk because they are after some prize money, and I'm not. I don't really care as much. So yeah, it's really good to have a sponsor and to have my own project. But of course, what I've been doing, what's been my center of my professional life, has been my professional career, and candidates is really big for that regard.
Well, thank you so much, Anish. I learned so much from this interview, and congratulations again.